past 20 years, the special operations community has done most of the heavy lifting in our various campaigns, not only in its own actions, but to serve also as a laboratory for the doctrines of the larger military, both the Army and the Marines, for example, in Iraq began to adopt a number of the methods employed by the smaller special operations formations. And so in Iraq, when we shifted from operating large forces from big forward operating bases to setting out platoon-sized outposts throughout Iraq, particularly in Anbar province, we created a new concept of operations that, after years of difficulties with the insurgents, was able to turn the tide and reduce violence by about 90% in 9 months, and to keep it down. This is the period roughly around 2007 to 2010, keep things very peaceful until we walked away at the end of 2011. And when ISIS arose and conquered much of Iraq, we came back again using this whole idea of our advanced technologies empower very small military formations. And so with a very, very light footprint, first under President Obama, then under President Trump, we conducted a campaign, Operation Inherent Resolve, that was run basically on a manpower shoestring, but was highly effective in destroying the ISIS caliphate. And of course, its splinters are in different parts of the world, including Afghanistan today. But this was a tremendous success. And it's something that we study very closely in the department, just as we are studying closely what went wrong in Afghanistan. How is it that we weren't able to achieve a similar level of success there with this lighter footprint? And I have my own ideas about that, and I must say that whatever views I express here are mine alone and do not reflect Defense Department policy. But in my view, we attempted to centralize the governance as well as the military institution in Afghanistan far too much, and didn't pursue the kind of outpost and outreach system that we used in Iraq so successfully. Instead, we tried to create a Western-style army, and sadly, we turned some of the world's best natural warriors into one of the world's worst armies, which we saw fold in about 11 days a month or so ago. So these are the sorts of things our program is charged with examining, analyzing, and thinking through in terms of the future. And why does this matter for the future? In large part because in the new era of great power competition, we're not going to see the clash of massed armies and thousands of tanks on the plains of Western Europe. We're not going to see a great naval clash like the World War II Battle of Midway in the Taiwan Strait or the East China Sea. And instead, on the ground in Eastern Europe, we're going to see groups of what we call little green men, these irregular Russian formations creating all kinds of mischief. And we're going to see, in the case of the Chinese Navy, not so much carrier strike groups, but rather hundreds of small missile and torpedo boats, and brilliant mines with artificial intelligence on them that can go after our ships, and hypersonic missiles and torpedoes that can create a bubble of air in front of them so they travel at 200 knots. This is a whole new set of problems that also falls under the rubric of irregular warfare. Warfare itself is no longer going to look like it did in the 20th century. And so I think our program in defense analysis has the challenge of dealing at all three levels of grand strategy, from the non-state terrorist and criminal networks to the mid-range rogue states like Iran and North Korea, and right up to the level of the great powers of Russia and China. And we're going to find that the business of irregular warfare is central at all three of those levels.